Alex, the air traffic controller from Arizona. Whoosh vroom, Alex said, while he was playing with an airplane model that his dad gave him on his birthday. Alex also played with an aircraft simulator on his computer after he finished his homework. Ready for our trip, Alex? Yes, Dad. Can I bring my airplane with me, Dad? Please? Sure, son. Just put it in your backpack so you don't lose it on the trip. I can't wait to see Grandma and Grandpa, Dad. Me too, son. It has been a while since we met them in person. Alex's dad drove to the airport. They both checked in and waited for their flight. It was going from Phoenix to Atlanta, where Alex's grandparents lived. The airport is so busy, Dad. So many people and planes. True, son. Many people are going to visit relatives, or going to work, or going on vacations. People like to travel. Can we stand by the windows, Dad? I want to see the planes taking off and landing. Sure, son. Alex and his dad stood closer to the windows, where they saw some planes taking off and others were landing. They also could see the planes that are sitting on the apron, where planes park to board and disembark passengers. How come all these planes that are taking off and landing don't collide with each other, Dad? All these planes are controlled by air traffic controllers, son. Air traffic controllers? What are these, Dad? Are they like the traffic lights we saw on our way to the airport? Sort of, son. Traffic lights direct cars and trucks on the road. They tell which ones have their turn to cross first. Although a police officer can direct traffic when the lights are not working, most of the time traffic lights are enough. Air traffic controllers, on the other hand, direct airplane traffic. Planes in the air and on the ground need to know when they can move and where they can move. Air traffic controllers tell them exactly that, where and when to go. Planes are big, most of them at least, and the big ones carry many passengers, sometimes in the hundreds. So, it is important that we keep all these passengers and the planes they are sitting in safe. That is what I do at the airport when I am at work. You are an air traffic controller, Dad? You don't look like a policeman at all. Dad laughs. Air traffic controllers are not police, son. They are civilian people who tell airplanes where and when to go. Do you see that tall tower over there? Yeah, Dad. What is that? That is the air traffic control tower where the air traffic controllers work. They sit there day and night directing planes. Day and night, Dad? Don't they take breaks? Oh, they do, son. And they take many breaks because their work is difficult. How do they control the traffic, Dad? They contact the planes using radio and tell the pilots where and when to go. But we listen to music on the radio, Dad. It is a different kind of radio. It is a two-way radio, like the walkie-talkie you have at home. So, all the planes have these walkie-talkies on them, Dad? That is right, son. Air traffic controllers also use radar to see where planes are at night and in bad weather conditions. What is radar, Dad? Radar is a way for us to see things that our eyes cannot. Remember when we visited the bat caves last summer? Yeah, Dad, that was fun. Bats use sound waves to determine where their prey is, and a way for them to not hit each other when they fly around. They do that by squeaking and making other sounds, then listen to the sound reflections from objects, like cave walls, other bats, and insects that bats like to eat. This is called echolocation. The sound echo is used to locate things. Same thing is used in radar, but instead of squeaks and sounds, radar uses radio waves that bounce from objects, like planes and birds and anything that these waves hit. The waves come back to the radar and show on a screen where planes are in the air. What do radio waves look like, Dad? Can we see them? No, son, we cannot see radio waves, but they look like the ocean waves, or the waves you see when you drop a rock in a pond. So, what happens when the air traffic controllers know about all these planes on the ground and in the air, Dad? They create a schedule for them. Planes that need to take off are directed to the takeoff runway, and the ones that need to land are directed to the landing runway. Can you see how the two runways in front of us are used? One is used for planes to take off, and another one is for planes to land. That way things are safe and organized, and there is little chance for an accident. Who decides when our plane will leave, Dad? The air traffic controllers. After our plane arrives from its scheduled flight from another city, the ground crew go inside for a quick check on cleanliness and make sure the plane is ready for the next set of passengers, which is us. The ground crew announcer calls for us to line up at the gate to go on board the plane. When everyone is seated and the plane is ready to leave, the pilot calls the tower, where the air traffic controllers work, and tells them they are ready to depart. The controllers then put the plane in a queue or a plane line, and when it is the right time, they tell the pilot it is okay to head on to the takeoff runway. The pilot then moves the plane slowly on the tarmac or runway, which is also called taxiing, until the plane reaches its turn for takeoff. The controllers make sure it is safe and okay for the plane to take off. Then they tell the pilot you are clear for takeoff. How do the air traffic controllers know which plane is which, Dad? Do they know each pilot and call them by their names?
No, son.
Although each plane has one or more pilots, the planes are identified by a number, just like your school bus number. School buses look similar with similar paint color in many places, which is yellow. Schools assign numbers to buses to differentiate between them, not by who drives the bus that day. So, plane number 1 and plane number 2? Like that, Dad? More like plane number N000M, son. Each plane here in the United States must have a number that begins with the letter N, then some numbers and other letters. This is also called the tail number because this is usually where it is written on the plane. Air traffic controllers usually call planes by their flight number, like Delta 1234. Delta is the name of an airline, and the numbers are the flight number. So, they will say, Delta 1234 taxi to Lima Bravo Mike. Who are Lima, Bravo, and Mike, Dad? These are words that represent letters, son. They are not persons or things. It is known as the IRSA alphabet. So instead of asking the pilot to go to runway LBM, they use these words to pronounce the letters to avoid confusion in spelling similar sounding letters like M and N. The word Mike is used to say the letter M, and the word November is used to say the letter N. This is cool. How would I pronounce my name that way, Dad? That will be Alpha, Lima, Echo, X-ray for Alex. How about your name, Dad? Juliet, Alpha, Mike, Echo, Sierra for James. Your name starts with Juliet, Dad. Yeah, son, but Juliet is used to represent the letter J, not my first name. We are now boarding flight Delta 1188 to Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, announced the ground flight attendant to the waiting passengers. Alex and his dad headed to the gate to board the plane and meet with Alex's grandparents. They arrived in Atlanta on time, and it was a wonderful reunion. That night Alex had a dream. He woke up the next morning and ran to tell his dad about what he saw. Dad, I had a dream last night. What did you see, son? I was an air traffic controller, Dad. I was sitting in the high tower directing traffic. There were so many planes, big and small, in the air and on the ground. I was calling the planes and telling them where to go. Nice dream, son. What else do you remember? I called on our flight, Delta 1188, to taxi to the takeoff runway, then told the pilot, Delta 1188, cleared for takeoff. It was fun, Dad. Glad you like directing plane traffic, son. One day you might become an air traffic controller, like your dad. I hope so, Dad. Can't wait.